Just 4 days after the Indian cricket team breezed through the Asia Cup tournament, winning the title without a single defeat, the team finds itself playing in a different format, Test cricket, that too at home, where the result was once again similar. There was a sweeping victory where the Indian team won the first test by a whopping margin. It was one whole innings and 140 runs, and then they won the second test by 7 wickets. And such is the life of Indian cricket team players that they are already, I guess, headed or they will be heading to Australia to take on the Australian team in a series of ODIs and T20 cricket. We are recording this on Tuesday, right after India has beaten West Indies, and I guess it's credit to the West Indies that they managed to take the second test at least to the 5th day after the 3-day capitulation that we saw. Hello, this is Amit Kamath and this is Game Time Podcast. Joining me today is Venkata Krishna B, who has a few thoughts about Indian cricket and this new era of Indian cricket under various captains who are not called either Rohit Sharma or Virat Kohli. Venkat, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us.
Hi everyone. Yes, it's good to be back on Game Time Podcast with you, Amit. I know we just have both of us. We don't have Vinayak or Mihir as always been the case before. But yeah, I think we can make this into a good one and show them like, okay, we can do it twice without like how India have been doing it with Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli. Can we, Amit?
I like how you are taking this opportunity of their absence to take digs at them and like stir up trouble. But I am not going to go ahead and rock the boat because once you leave this episode, I have to join the next episode with the two of them. And I would rather not be cornered in a podcast. So, I mean, whatever it is that you are trying to start here, I want no part of it. Sorry to leave you hanging, I guess.
Yeah, it's okay. This like feels just like some thing in the Indian team, right? I think probably the people will get the reference.
Well, that is a very smooth way to talk about Indian cricket, but that is exactly what happens. One day you are best friends with somebody, next day you are competing for the same role, I guess. One day you are somebody's mentor, the other day that your protege is basically your captain. And these sorts of things sometimes happen in Indian cricket. I'm not saying it's happening right now. I'm just saying that these sorts of things can happen in Indian cricket. But yeah, coming back to the point, Venkat, we've had an Asia Cup series where, the Indian team went unbeaten through the whole tournament, and in what will basically please the masses, they've beaten Pakistan 3 times, including in the finals. And most of those games, they barely look challenged. Now we come to the West Indies tour, where you've gone through 2 tests without essentially being made to blink at all. It did not even seem that in the second test they would have to come out to bat for the second time after enforcing follow-on, but somehow they've had to come out and bat the second time. What do we take away from these 2 tours, Venkat, from the Asia Cup itself and the series against West Indies?
I think in both fronts, like T20, yes, it was like start of the new season. As far as for the T20 World Cup is concerned, you need to have like a core group, right? I think India definitely used Asia Cup to identify it. And the conditions in UAE, which will be like pretty much similar to what India will face in the World Cup at home next year, would have just like, and how well they did it would have like definitely pleased them because condition, I don't think it'd be as slow as what it was in UAE, but definitely it will be like some sort of familiar conditions every now and then, especially if they're gonna play Pakistan or in Sri Lanka in the knockouts. They could face similar challenges, but I think overall it went pretty well for them. But having said that, I think they were like more keen on getting back into the test groove a lot. That's what you got the message from the selectors as well, how they named a strong squad. For even it was West Indies, they could have rested a couple of players and they could have still like managed to win the series. But nevertheless, they thought, okay, like no, let's put the best team out there in the park because the series defeat against New Zealand, it still hurts a lot in this Indian team. There are like a lot of players have moved on, but there are like support staff have remained the same, and there are like a few players who still have that hangover of the defeat. So it's completely understandable. Yes, we thought like, okay, India would definitely beat West Indies, which is without a win in Indian soil since 1994. That was a given. There is no two ways about it. But just how well they started the home leg, Shubman Gill as a captain, that should like be encouraging, right? Because that seems to be like a template they want to follow, which Gill himself revealed in Ahmedabad that they want to play long, grinding test cricket in home conditions. They don't want to play on turners or something or like wickets that help spinners a lot. So in that sense, you got to see both, right? In the both the tests, it is like Delhi, though they had to like literally grind it out because the pitches were like didn't offer much assistance to the spinners, but still India could easily like manage even the 7 wicket win. Nevertheless, sounds big, right? It isn't a no thing. I mean, it is not a yes. West Indies, you expect them to fight, and they fought in the final innings of the test, so which is good. But again, it was not enough for them to get the job done. But for India, I think these two series back to back in different formats, in different conditions, I think they have 10 out of 10 in both places.
Right, 10 out of 10 probably it was. But Venkat, just talk about this series defeat against New Zealand, because I remember Gambhir also spoke about this before the start of the Delhi test when he sat down with the broadcasters for an interview. He was telling Akash Chopra that, we should not forget about the New Zealand series. And that defeat clearly rankles them to the point that they have made it a point to keep reminding themselves in a sense of what had happened the last time they played. They hosted a team in India for a test series.
Definitely, Amit, because he last time, it was around the same time that New Zealand came to India, and then it was like everybody were looking forward. All the talk was around the Australia tour that was coming up. It is so much that you forgot like what was lying in front of you. The immediate challenge was like sort of overlooked, and all the focus on the Australia tour. So that's where I think India sort of like, I wouldn't say they were complacent, but they thought like, okay, we have like not lost a test series at home since 2012, and we've just lost not even like handful of test matches we lost at home. We just lost like 4 games in the last 10 years. So will New Zealand trouble us? Maybe, but they're not going to like sort of win series or whatever. That's what seems to be in the thinking, right? Like, I mean, it's completely understandable if that was the case as well, because India had been like literally the final frontier that teams couldn't breach at all. So and they had like everything, their proud home record. They had like batsmen who were returning to form. You had like a young crop of batsmen coming through, and you had like a strong spin attack. But I think that was a series where it was like India got like a proper reality check, right? That's where it really showed them the mirror. Listen, a couple of your senior batsmen are not the same anymore, and your lead spinner isn't the same anymore. You just need to evolve. You just have to like check your balances. So I think that's where everything started to turn around. And Australia, you saw how it went, right? You know that it was India this time. They were never in with a chance of like even. I mean, I would say like the winning the first test itself was a very good achievement. From beyond that, it was like there were some close moments, but we never came close to consistently challenging Australia on any of the other remaining 4 tests. So it was a bit of thing. So in England, you saw them press a reboot button and starting afresh. And then now we are continuing. And that's what India, like, being after the New Zealand series got over, there were some conversations that, okay, this is going to happen. We can't like immediately change plans for Australia because already things are in place. But they were already looking at the 2026 Border Gavaskar Trophy. That was their planning. They were like, okay, now is the time to reboot. Let this Border Gavaskar Trophy get going. Let's finish it. And then we'll start the transition. And they want a team that is like in a good shape when Australia come home. Visit here, they want a team that is up and running at its peak. And I think that's where like this team is like sort of molding itself into. They're like, of course, there is like few spots here and there up for grabs. And then like you have like Sai Sudarshan trying to cement a spot at number 3, or if could be a space for anybody else, only time will tell. But it's like overall, you can see like, okay, a core is being formed, it's already in place, and now it's like all about like sort of letting it like sort of hang in and like sort of take course from here. That's what they want to do ideally. So after this, we have South Africa series at home, which again won't be easy. India are not going to take it lightly, that as well. And then you have a challenging tour of Sri Lanka, because where the conditions, if they remain spinner friendly, it is no doubt is going to challenge the Indians, because playing spin doesn't come as naturally to many of the current Indian batsmen as it was in the previous eras. So that Sri Lanka series will be a challenging one. I'm not saying India will like struggle, but it will be very, very challenging. They need to like have the right players, and you need to like properly, they should have some red ball games behind them. We are talking about next August, that is. So I think post IPL, they could play some games here and there to just get themselves like ready. And then you have New Zealand end of the year, and which is again a very, very difficult country to do, because you get to play only 2 test matches, and then it's not like Australia or England where you go there like 10 days in advance where you prepare. India off late. I mean, whenever they go to New Zealand, it's only for a couple of tests in the recent past decade or so. So what they do, they just go there 4 5 days in advance, and then just have 3 4 practice days, and then they go right into the test match. I think it's not enough. because in seaming conditions, you need a bit more time. And then New Zealand, with the seam attack, they'll always cause problems for India. So, given all of it, it's like the start against West Indies, where they had to be absolutely ruthless. I know everybody says just West Indies, but they had to show that ruthless side that, okay, listen, we are going to get it back. That's what the Indian team did the last 10 years. They were like ruthless as a pack. Never mind the opposition, they wanted to like come all guns blazing. That's what they were doing. So it's good. They're getting shades of it, but still a long way to go for like where to erase the past of the New Zealand series. They still have a long, long way to go, Amit.
Venkat also talked to us about this upcoming tour of Australia itself, right? We have Virat and Rohit in the side. Rohit obviously not the captain anymore. It's Shubman Gill's team now. It's Shubman Gill's era, if we can call it that. You spoke about just before England, we kind of pressed the reboot button in a sense. And then we saw the results in England as well. Talk to us about what this tour of Australia, what we should expect from it, considering Shubman will be at the helm for ODIs for the first time. Obviously, T20, you have Surya leading the team. What should fans expect from this tour from India?
See, with Rohit and Virat Kohli returning, ultimately all the focus is going to be on both of them in the ODI series. This ODI series is pretty much inconsequential in many ways. You still have the ODI World Cup still a long way to go, and then India is saying like, okay, listen, that World Cup is still far. Like we just exactly have 2 years, and there is still no certainty whether these two will be part of the plan going forward. So it's like now we have every series that Rohit and Virat Kohli play is going to be off. Like all eyes is going to be on them. Whether if they have any credit to like if happen to like have a quiet series, what happens next? This is a question that is going to hang around forever until they decide, because it's a very peculiar spot they find themselves in. Like you have seen cricketers who give up T20s and play just ODIs and Test, and you have like players who have given up Test cricket and just play ODIs and T20s. But these two are in a place where they have given up both T20Is and Tests, and they just want to play ODIs. It's a very peculiar case, right? It's like it's going to be like test them a lot because they don't have many games. They don't have enough games to play, because even if you retire some of the past, if say like somebody like retired from Test cricket and they just want to play T20, they are playing all these global T20 leagues and they're like finding themselves fit and going. And similarly, those who just gave up white ball and was playing only red ball cricket, they were playing county cricket and other stuff just to keep themselves going. But with ODIs, there's not much competition all around even across the world. You post this Australia series, the Vijay Hazare Trophy happens to be the only sort of right one that Kohli and Rohit Sharma have. And after that, they have the series against South Africa and then New Zealand. So it's a very tight spot they find themselves in. So they need to like keep scoring. They have to keep proving all over again. Like, listen, I am not missed out. My skill is the same level. My intensity is the same. They can provide. I mean, going by what we saw in Champions Trophy, we have all the reasons to believe, okay, they can keep it going. But since then, a lot has changed. Like they have like retired from one format or the other, and how they're gonna overcome this obstacle, which is like sort of new to them, will determine how far their ODI career goes from here. Because if they feel like okay, it is like there is a too much of gap, and they are not able to like keep it up, I don't know how long they'll play, whether they'll be match fit, and what is going to be like. It's going to be like a real struggle for them. You talk about Dhoni, he keeps missing 10 months of cricket, just turns up for IPL for 2 months, but even then he struggles. Right at 44, it's like relatively understandable. With the two, they are going to be in the same thing, but with bit of age by their side. So it's going to be like a very interesting phase for these two cricketers. And for me personally, if you're looking at the Australia white ball series, the thing I'm most looking forward is the T20I series. It's gonna be like absolute like in WWE style. It's gonna be like a proper smackdown, because we have two really good T20 teams, and wickets and pitches in Australia are gonna be like really flat, and it's gonna have like runs in it. So and because again the start of the season, wickets will be fresh as well, so it'll be like good games, right? Like in Australia, we always love you just afternoon games. It may not be in the peak time, it's going to be in afternoon games, but you have enough time to like sort of just sit back after a good lunch and then just enjoy the cricket. Like it'll be like awesome. The atmosphere will be great. And you have like I said, it's gonna be two really good T20 sides like gonna like pit against each other. You have like batting wise is gonna be like both teams have enough firepower, and then bowling wise also there is enough in both the sides. So it's like 5 games. Wow. It's really like a popcorn stuff, man. Amit. You just need to get some popcorn, just get in and just watch cricket. Or if you want something else also, you can free to buy Mr. Amit.
I probably wouldn't watch cricket with any kind of stuff. I mean, this is a personal preference, but anyway. But Venkat, you spoke about this very tight spot that you said that Virat and Rohit are in, First of all, what is the message that the selectors have kind of sent to Rohit when they've not retained him as captain, but also kind of said that, the World Cup is far away, but we are still essentially planning for the World Cup, even though it comes almost like 2 years later down the line?
I think it is simple, Amit. See, when you know that, okay, by next World Cup, Rohit will be 40, there is no guarantee that he's going to be around. There is no guarantee about that. You can't guarantee the form he's going to be in, or if there is, by chance, there's any fitness related issues, then India will be like suddenly looking for a new captain. I think that they wanted to avoid it because that's a hallmark of a good side. I think they are like doing what Australia did in previous eras, where they were like they were ruthless selectors. I remember like in 2002 or 2001, they lost a tri-series. I mean, they didn't qualify for the tri-series at home involving New Zealand and South Africa. And the first thing they did, they got rid of Steve Waugh and made Ricky Ponting the captain. So that sort of a thing, that's what Australia were like, I mean, I did back then, right? They didn't show any mercy when it comes to like compromising the quality of the side. That's why it made them like go unbeaten in two successive World Cups. They were like they were like unmatched side. And India, given their white ball resources and the depth they have, they feel like, okay, they can like add a couple of ICC titles to their name. So in that sense, they feel like, okay, given how Shubman Gill went about his performance in England, I think that's what would have like probably helped them as well to just sort of hurry with the decision for the Australia tour. Probably if Gill didn't have took time to like bite into his role or taken some more time to like just fit into his thing, they would have thought, okay, let's not burden him with another responsibility of the ODI side as well. Let's like take it simple, like let's give him some more breathing space. But Gill, he not only like scored runs, he also showed like he has like sort of gotten in him as a captain as well. So they thought like, okay, when a captain is high, there is nothing in cricket like confidence runs really. Yes, there is runs and everything, but confidence ultimately matters. Cricket, there's a lot goes on the mind. But that's why they say cricket is a mind game. And then when you have somebody like Gill who's like in top of his thing, they would have thought, okay, this is the right time to give it to him. Just give it to him, and then let's see. There is always like 2 years. There is like Rohit as well to groom him as well as and when required, which the luxury doesn't have in Test cricket, right? So he can learn a lot, and we have Virat as well. So it is sort of helps both Indian cricket in multiple fronts. Yes, you're not completely saying like two legends, okay, like enough is enough, but they're looking at them as like, okay, listen, we need you. You saw like during the Champions Trophy how much they brought to the table, both Rohit and Virat, in terms of like playing the tournament cricket and in terms of like just adjusting their game to the conditions. I think that's where this Indian team needs a bit of like sort of help to the youngsters, because ODIs, we have played very less ODIs in the recent times. And then it's a format where you need to like be shifting between different gears. In Test cricket, you can get into one variety, you can just play in your third gear or whatever. In T20, you can play in top gear, but in ODIs, you need to keep shuffling every now and then. I think that's where the Indian selectors also feel, okay, let's bank on these guys to provide the young batsmen some sort of input on these lines. They will also learn a lot from like how to pace an innings in ODIs and stuff. And rest, it's like like I said earlier, I think it's going to be series by series for both Rohit and Virat Kohli. Yes, the Australia series there, but even if they fail, I think the current home season, which includes South Africa and New Zealand, I think selectors will give them opportunities till then. But post IPL is where it will probably get a bit interesting, Amit.
Right. Venkat, Ajit Agarkar, while he was explaining some of the selections, right, in that also he mentioned this point that you brought up that, we are not playing too many ODIs to begin with. And that also kind of makes it slightly harder for somebody like a Rohit Sharma and Virat, because as you said, there's not too much cricket in ODI format that they can anyway play. If you are probably gearing up for the test team, you could go play Ranji. If you are trying to go, play for only the T20s, there is obviously multiple events happening. There is the IPL itself, there is Syed Mushtaq Ali, things like that. So for these two guys, how much does this tour of Australia kind of matter? Because as you said, obviously there is going to be the tour of South Africa, New Zealand, all of that happening. But for them to tell the selectors, tell the rest of the think tank of Indian side that, boss, we might have retired from the two other formats and you don't see us a whole lot these days playing cricket. But as you mentioned, we are still key cogs of that team that won the Champions Trophy very recently.
It will be like, I'm more interested to see Virat, whatever surrender in his game is not going to change a lot. Because at three, he has been doing the same role and with just like little bit of tweaks here and there, depending on the scoring rate and stuff. But I'm just interested to see how Rohit Sharma goes about it, right? Because since the lead up to the 2023 World Cup, starting with the Asia Cup, if I remember right, he has been playing one particular brand of cricket where he wants to take the attack to the opposition and wants to kill the game, won the game in the first 10 overs. That's what he's been trying to do. He's been at the forefront of this India's the current setup, like the batting formula they have incorporated. I mean, Rohit has been at the forefront of it. Like he has been like leading the charge. He has been like he doesn't mind getting out even after like 10 overs. He's been like going in terms of strike rate. That's what he's been like looking at. And from there on, he has to like ensure that the rest of the batting order gets the platform, right? That's what he's been doing so far. Now, he's not the captain anymore. Now, what is it going to do to him? Now, he has to take care of his spot as well, right? It's got to ultimately play in his mind. Now, what does it do? Like, is he going to employ the same formula or he's going to say like, okay, listen, I've done that role. I was like selfless. I was like a selfless captain did it. Now, it's a Gill's team. He will have his own ideas and he will have his own formulas. So should I keep doing the same thing or should I go back to my original, the old Rohit of old? Which was like nothing different. It was like he used to start pretty cautiously and then as in once he crosses 100, he used to explode. That was the Rohit Sharma of the old. Now I'm waiting to see whether he goes back to doing that or he continues to remain the Rohit 2.0 version in white ball cricket because both have been effective in their own ways. They brought like provided Indian team with good success, be it like providing impetus at the top straight away is no easy thing. It is like very few are capable of doing it. And then Rohit has shown that it has comes naturally to him. And even building a foundation and then exploding once he crosses three-figure mark, again, that comes very natural to Rohit. He will be like toying with the gaps here and there. He will like just like natural six-hitter. So I'm just interested in how Rohit goes about that in Australia. That will like sort of determine if he gets caught in two minds, then he will be neither here, neither there. Then it could be like sort of could be a slippery rope for him, Rohit. So I'm just hoping like Rohit, when he goes to Australia, he'll be like, okay, listen, this is what I'm going to do. This is what my plan is. Or rather, he discusses the team management. With Kohli, yes, he's somebody who's been like sort of been away, right? Rohit, you see here and there. With Kohli, you don't see him often these days. He lives in UK and then we don't get to see him a lot as well. So there'll be like a lot more attention or eyes on him as to how he goes about it. So, but again, if there's one player who's like averse to all this noise and everything, it's Kohli. And Kohli in Australia, we would always like to see the Kohli of the old, right? Like who can like forget the knock in Hobart and stuff. So if we can like get back that phase, if he could get a second win like say Sachin Tendulkar found in ODIs between 2007 to 2011, then we might be in for a treat. I don't know whether it's like, again, it's just like me assuming that Kohli will prefer to play till 2027 World Cup because he doesn't speak to the press as he used to do before. So it's all like sort of, I'm just speculating from here. But it would be like nice to hear his sort of what is going through his mind as well. Because Kohli, if he wished, he could have carried on in Test cricket, but he said enough is enough. So yeah, we have to see where they go from here.
Right. I think that's kind of all the time we have for this episode. Venkat, thank you so much for joining us and talking cricket for this while. And for our listeners, guys, this is our episode for this coming week. After a short Diwali break, we will be back the week after this. So thank you so much for listening. And I guess as Venkat said at the start, we'll let you guys decide whether not having Mihir and Vinayak is the best thing for this podcast. That's just a joke. But thank you so much for listening. We'll be back the week after next.
You were listening to Express Sports by the Indian Express. This week's show was edited and mixed by Suresh Pawar and produced by me, Shashank Bhargava. If you like the show, then do subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also recommend the show to someone you think will like it. Share it with a friend or someone in your family. It's the best way for people to get to know about us. You can also tweet us at Express Podcasts and write to us at podcasts@indianexpress.com.